So I chickened out and I sent a text to her. I couldn't because you know how Desi parents are. This is something very new to them. We still
Right.
don't have a Bangladeshi elected official in New York City. And um I sent her a text and she's like, I was waiting for you to ask me this question. And that was kind of the moment where I was like, okay, like I can't disappoint her above anyone. And I will always want to put people first.
Welcome to the Powerhouse. My name is Joshua Gonzalez, but you can call me JG. This show is for the moment before the win, when you're at the crossroads and your judgment actually matters. Each episode, I sit down with a leader here in New York City to unpack one real decision under pressure. What the stakes were, trade offs they face, what they chose, and the values behind it. Then we publish a short written breakdown in the Powerhouse newsletter on LinkedIn. So the lesson is easy to share, easy to remember, and useful. So if you ever had to make a hard call with imperfect information, this is for you. Let's get it started. Let's welcome our featured leader. She describes herself as a lifelong New Yorker. She's tough, she's kind, and she's persistent. Let's welcome Pia Rahman.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Where were you in life right before this big decision?
I was doing what I usually do. I was doing community work. I was working on another campaign for local politics in Queens, Assembly District 34, Brian Romero.
If you're serious about making better decisions in your life, career, or business, subscribe to the Powerhouse.
And I was approached by a lot of community leaders and electeds being, we think you have done the work and you would be a great candidate to serve our community. And I sat with that moment. And one day I woke up and I felt it in my bones. I never felt that feeling before or that understanding of when you feel it in your bones. And I woke up one day and I felt it in my bones that this is the assignment for me and I have to do it.
Interesting. Wow. And what were the options that was presented to you?
I can continue being working for someone else. I could either do that and seize the moment, or I can really think about the Bangladeshi community, especially in Queens, and how often we feel deeply neglected, underrepresented, and often overlooked. Um, Bengalis in Queens, we are one of the most highest populated places in the world for Bangladeshis. And with only one exception, Bangladeshis do not hold elected offices in city, in New York State, or the federal level. And sometimes our candidates, they don't even get meaningful support from publications, from other elected officials, from organizations when we run. So I really sat with that moment and I thought of all of my life experiences being a part of local movements in Queens, from every historic moment that started in Queens local politics I've been a part of in the last few years, in the last turning points. Um, and I really sat with that and I thought of all the Bangladeshis who never had their turn. And that is what continues me to keep going.
Tell us more. So,
So before I worked in politics, I was a dietitian at the COVID only hospital during the pandemic. And life was really kind to me. I was fortunate enough to work at Team AOC for multiple cycles. I was fortunate enough to be on the community board for our district. And before all of that, I never saw myself in politics. And what I realize is that every decision that is made by elected officials. And that's what made me want to be a part of this.
What made this decision to run risky or hard? Tell us, like, how did the money look, the time, investment, reputation at stake, family, the uncertainty? Take us through this thought process on why it was risky for you.
You never understand y you never understand what a candidate goes through until you become a candidate. I've seen so many people run, and they have thought they have shared their experiences, and there's in any life decision, there's pros and cons. And I think of that Bob Dylan line in Rolling Stone, "When you have nothing to lose." And I thought of that line, and I was like, "You know what? All I can do is give it my best, talk to voters. I've done this before for other candidates. I've done it for other elected officials. I should do it for myself this time. I should do it for all the Bangladeshi uncles and aunties who never got a seat at the table." And I think of that. I think of all of the people that came from Bangladesh, who came to Queens, and still to this day, we don't have any Bangladeshi representation in senior New York City, in New York State government roles. And I am a continuation of that. It is not just for me, it is a continuation of every woman of color who ran for office, who had to deal with it, who had to deal with running when the odds are against you. So that is what made me continue to want to keep going.
Talk to me more about the fear in running. What don't we know about being a candidate?
Culturally, like Bangladeshi people, we don't ask for much. Asking to fundraise is hard. And that was something that I had to overcome. Like, we pride ourselves not asking for help. And at this point around, I do need everyone's help. If we want to make history, if we want to send a Bangladeshi to Albany, I need everyone's help. Um, and that was really hard for me. And realizing that I can't do this all by myself. So I need all hands on deck. That was really hard for me. And then just weighing out the pros and cons. This running is a full-time position. Running has consequences. You become a public figure, and that comes with weight, and it comes with responsibility, and I don't take that lightly. Um, and that's something that I had to sit with. And I was like, "You know what? You have one life." And I think of all the cab drivers from Bangladesh, all the immigrants in New York where we are facing ICE raids. I think of all of the aunties and uncles from all over who gave up their dreams to make it in New York. And I think of them, and I think they have worked so hard for us to even be here. And that is what keeps me going. There are hard days and there are beautiful days. And when I talk to voters or I talk to friends and family or people that I meet on the street, that is what keeps me going because the odds are against me.
Take us through the moment when the decision became real. Where were you? What triggered this decision? And who did you talk to right away?
It became real when I was like, you know what? So many people are rooting for me. So many people want change. So many people want someone from the community who has done the work. And when people were telling me, "Pia, you have done the work for years," that is what kept me going. That is when it kind of solidified. And the first people that I spoke to, it was like people that have been with me in all parts of my life, former bosses, um, friends from all through walks of life, people that I looked up to. And then sometimes it's like a random person you've met just in your life that you feel so close to at that moment. And those were the first people that I told. And then a lot of community leaders and and some were like, you know what? I was waiting for you to ask me this question of when you were gonna run. That's what my mom said. And some some local community leaders were like, Pia, this is no surprise. Um, and that was kind of the moment.
When you mentioned that you told your mom, take us through that scene. Were you in her house? Were you guys having dinner somewhere? And how did you break the news to her? What exact words and how did she respond right away?
So I chickened out and I sent a text to her. I couldn't because you know how Desi parents are. This is something very new to them. We still
Right.
don't have a Bangladeshi elected official in Queens, despite we are heavily populated. I think 4% of New York City is Bangladeshis. And um, I sent her a text and she's like, I was waiting for you to ask me this question. And she was like, "I support you running, but on conditions." And it's like, "You will always put people first. You will not take lobbying money, and you must always be truthful to the people." And, like people in politics will always ask, "Will you take lobbying money?" But the way my mom said it, like, it scared me. Like, when get stern with you, and that was kind of the moment where I was like, "Okay, like, I can't disappoint her above anyone, and I will always want to put people first."
Yeah, I would if I knew my mom was a little, how do you say it, unpredictable, I probably would send a text too. So I think that's a good strategy. But eventually you found out that she was actually excited that you had to run. How did it feel to get that support from the people closest to you, like your mom or close family?
Good, but I'm an organizer at heart, and with
Okay.
organizing, you are like, "Okay, what is the next
Oh,
action step?" So I'm like, "You better be knocking doors for me. You better be fundraising for me. You better be telling all your aunts and uncles and anyone in your orbit about me. We have to win it. I can't do this by myself.
right.
Talk to 5 people every day about me. I will hold you accountable to it. This is how movements grow." So I had that, and
Wow.
I'm holding that to everyone here as well.
That's so interesting, because it's like, okay, I know you're supportive now. Rubber meets the road. So tell us, what did it cost you, to run? Because I'm not sure if it's also easy not to run, but running is for sure hard. What did it cost you to be a public figure now? What's the trade off?
The trade-off is that I would regret it, I would regret not making the most of life. You have one life, and you don't get a day back, and there are so many people who want to run or want to stand up to things, but when push comes to shove, a lot of people don't have it in them, and I don't want to live my life in fear, and I don't want to live my life as being a coward.
Wow.
And that is it. And I realize that when you're running, every day is so many things can happen. And there are good days and there are bad days, but it is not the end. Um, and I also find joy. Like I find so much joy talking to voters. And I almost feel like I like talking to voters more than anything than the politics of politics.
Wow.
And that is what keeps me going. Like this morning, I was like, you know what? I'm walking my dog. I have some literature. Why don't I go and talk to voters as well? Like any dog that approaches my dog, and I can go tell them like, "Hey, I'm running." Me and my
That's a good lead magnet.
yeah. And I feel so much better because I think people give me hope. And I think seeing a lot of wins in our country where ultimately like the machine orgs and the machine candidates and the establishment, they can have their say, but ultimately, like if people come through, it is and people show up, it really makes a difference.
Awesome. Let's rewind back. the first 30 days when you decide to, I guess you had to file for candidacy. Is that file? How does that work? Take me the system and then take me through a date that we'll start talking about for the 30 days after.
Today is day 30.
After today's 30, 30.
Today
Okay, okay.
is
So
day 30.
how was 30 days? How was 30 days?
You know, you have your highs, you have your lows, you feel like, am I really doing this? Like, am I, you know, what did I get myself into? Like, if I was rational, if I was, if I, if I didn't have this courage, would I continue? And that's like, that is what runs through your head. And it's also like, oh my God, you have to think of the long game. And why are you doing this? What is your why? And my why is that I grew up in New York and I've seen a lot of things. And ultimately, it does come down to leadership. I was um, a survivor of traffic violence when I was little. And these small decisions of where a stop sign is can change the life of a kid. Um, I work at the COVID only hospital. I've seen firsthand how our healthcare system has failed us. So I think of my patients, um, and I think of the ones who didn't make it. I think of the healthcare workers who didn't make it. And that's what keeps me going. Or I think of myself as a little child, um, and being a traffic violence survivor. And I think of all the little kids who are still being victims of it and all the New Yorkers. So that's what keeps me going. And then I think of like the cab driver who found it in their hearts to donate. That's what keeps me going. I really think of the people of Queens. I think anything can happen. No.
Awesome. So my last question is: so if you had to name that decision rule that you use, what would you call it? The kind of like when you decide to run, what was that rule that you're like, I gotta do this?
If I were to die tomorrow, would I regret not running? And the answer would be yes. Like, life is short. Life is really, really short. And that was kind of the decision. And I've been so lucky in life, and I've been so lucky with these moments. And why don't I just seize it?
Thank you for that story. When the community leaders first approached you during that Queen's campaign and told you a seat was opening, what exactly did they say that made you take the idea of running seriously?
First, I thought they were saying that to everyone in Queens, so I didn't take them seriously. I thought, like they're just buttering me
They're
up.
fishing, they're fishing.
Yeah, they're just like, "Oh," so I didn't take it seriously at first. And then there were moments I'm like, "Wait, they're definitely talking to me because 'cause I'm the only one that they're talking to in the room." And I was really flattered, and I had to really sit with it. And a lot of times, even now, people are like, "The odds are against you." And I sat with that, and I was like, "But the odds were always against me." I was born in the Bronx. I am Bengali. I am a woman of color. I did not grow up in a family in politics. So what difference is it going to make now? The odds were always against me.
Great. So you mentioned that the name of the rule is the no regret test, essentially. So, what are the steps, and what should a young leader do in the next 24 hours to use it on their own scary decision?
Make the most of life. You never know when your last moment is in life or the last interaction you'll have with someone. So seize that moment. Whether it's saying what is on your mind or living your life with bravery or making the most out of your day, whether it's all these small decisions, it adds up to something.
What are the clearest trade offs, assuming that they run towards their assignment? You know, they conquer their scary decision. What's the clearest trade off that they have to accept and they have to expect that it's coming?
I think any life decision, whether it's someone going back to school, whether it's a second career, whether it's moving to another country or getting into a new relationship, there's always pros and cons. There's always consequences. There's always benefits and things that just have to wait. And you have to weigh that, being like, okay, you know what? Maybe this part of my life in this chapter, there are certain aspiration and dreams that have to take a back seat. But that doesn't mean that dream is forgotten. It just has a moment in time in your story and maybe in a different chapter. And that is okay.
Awesome. So
Okay.
it's just free flowing. Okay, get ready. It's all about New York City. All right. So, what's a local spot that deserves more attention?
Zaruma is this beautiful coffee shop, this beautiful Ecuadorian coffee shop, and the owner is so lovely, and they have these beautiful Ecuadorian breakfasts. Um, and I absolutely love their empanadas, and it just is a reminder of what makes Queens great, like the food. There's no place in the world that has the array of food from different parts of the world. So Zaruma
What's your go-to restaurants for celebration?
in district or like out of district?
Your call. Your call.
Okay, so I always loved Danny Myers, any of his restaurants. His book of Setting the Table really changed how I looked at fine dining, of hospitality and service. And then in district, I love Takumin. Takumin,
Oh, I'm so close to Taco Man.
really, I love Takumin. I love their soft serve ice
Oh,
cream.
the ice cream. Oh, wow. Okay.
I know their machine was broken for a moment, but it just I
It's
just
the
love.
matcha, right?
Yeah, it's the matcha soft serve. Everyone should get a soft serve matcha cone from there, regardless of the weather.
What subway behavior should be illegal?
I think people should be aware of the real estate in the subway, and I think everyone should always go towards the center of the train so more people can come in. And when someone is standing in front of the door, it delays people from coming in and it delays people in general and the flow of people. So I think everyone should be mindful of when you come into the subway, don't hog the entrance, go into the center, be a nice New Yorker. Try everyone's trying to get by, literally.
It's so simple, but it's so hard too. It's always blocked. You're
And man,
just like, I don't want to wait for the next train. Move.
yes. I think being mindful of real estate,
Good.
whether it's the subway, doors, or man spreading, like, you have to be aware that everyone should take up a certain amount of real estate. No one should m take more than they need.
If New York had the smell, how would you describe it?
It depends on where you are in New York.
If LIC had a smell, what's the smell of LIC?
Money?
What?
I feel like the
Money.
I feel like the vast growth of
Yeah,
LIC is like, it is one of the fastest growing neighborhoods in America,
it is.
not
It is.
only in New York City. And how can we make sure that this place is affordable? So that is where I'm thinking. We need to make sure that we have affordable housing in Long Island City. We have to make sure that
Yes.
it can grow up in
My
Long
rent
Island
is
City.
expensive.
It can't just smell like money, okay? It needs to smell like community, and, um, it also smells like dogs because I think we have the most we're one of the neighborhoods that has the most dogs per capita for humans, so it smells like dogs too, which I'm
Right.
totally fine with. I'm a dog lover.
Sure. I would say New York LIC smells like ocean water because people remember the ocean if they're in LIC. They wouldn't think like, oh, New York is an island. Yeah, go to LIC. You'll see.
Yeah,
You'll smell the breeze. That's good. Okay, so what neighborhood is your personality and why?
that's a tough question. I would say, could I pick a subway station? Like,
Sure.
I
That's
would be
good.
the
That's good. That's
7.
good. What?
I would be the 7.
The seven, of
The
course.
7 train because I think, um, the 7 because it goes through a lot of neighborhoods that is transient, but also the center of many things from, like, 42nd Grand Central to Court Square. So or, um, Roosevelt Avenue.
Right.
So I think if it was a train, I would pick the 7 because I think all those stops, I have
Right.
some memories from childhood to now, from,
Wow.
like, Grand Central to Court Square. Um,
Your home is on the 7, essentially.
the 7.
Wherever different stages in life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got you. I got you. Where would people typically be able to see you on a random day? Where would you be hanging?
So you could probably find me at Zeruma Coffee. That's
There
where
we
I get
go.
coffee from, and then over pour. And then you can probably find me at Gantry Park,
There we go.
well, Court Square Diner as
Diner.
well, and then
Shout out
probably
for a diner, you know.
like, um, walking my dog.
Okay.
Feel free to
Okay.
hi.
Um, fill in the blanks. Last question, right? In New York, you can blank.
In New York, you can make friends anywhere you go.
Perfect. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. And of course, thank you very much, Pia, being our guest here at the Powerhouse. Any final message to our audience before we go?
I wanna say thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Powerhouse and the whole team. Um, Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. Please don't ever be a stranger. If you see me in Long Island City, say hi. And please don't ever hesitate to reach out. My website is piarahman@gmail.com.
Anything else to plug about your current campaign?
Um, we will be petitioning soon. We will have volunteer opportunities. We will have a campaign launch at Fifth Hammer on the 27th at
Uh,
6:30. Please come by and say hello. The more the merrier. I would love to get to know our neighbors and what issues matter to you the most. So please don't be a stranger. Reach out. I am always happy to hear from anyone.
thank you very much, and see you on the next episode of the Powerhouse.
Bye.
If you're serious about making better decisions in your life, career, or business, subscribe to the Powerhouse. Every episode, we unpack one real decision under pressure so you can learn from leaders across New York City. And if there's someone whose story we should feature next, drop their names in the comments. And I'm JG. I'll see you in the next episode.